Okay, everyone, let's get started. So today I'm going to be talking about Conquer the Web with PWAs. I'm Pato Vargas. I'm a Auth0 ambassador. I'm a Google developer expert in Angular and web technologies. I'm also a media developer expert for Cloudinary, right, which is a cloud company. And feel free to follow me on Twitter, on DevPato, or on GitHub. I have multiple coding examples in my repos. And if you have any questions related with the talk that I'm going to give or anything else that I'm probably can help you with, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. So the first thing about the talk is, what is a PWA? So PWA stands for Progressive Web App, right? So these applications are becoming more popular every single day. So, but what is a PWA? A PWA is an app that is intended to behave like a native application on your phone. It's a regular web app that it has the functionality of being installable in your phone, meaning whenever you open a website and it's a PWA, you're going to have the ability to press on the option that says add to home screen, and you're going to be able to use it like a regular native application. So it's pretty cool. So now you might be wondering, who uses PWAs, right? I mean, PWAs is not new, it's not a new concept, but it's definitely the future, right? So a few companies that are using PWAs are CSX, right, which is a local company here in Jacksonville, Google, Twitter, Tinder, Starbucks, and Microsoft, right? So these companies are one of the ones that use PWAs, but there are like way more companies that use it. Pinterest, if I'm not mistaken, is one of them. Microsoft and Google, especially, I wanted to put them in this slide because they are heavily pushing this technology for everyone, right? They are every day constantly working to make PWAs better. So let's talk about the PWA pros, right? PWAs are fast to load, right? Because they use caching strategies. They work offline, which is awesome because thanks again for the caching strategies. You have multiple caching strategies. You just don't have one. You have multiple that you can predefine. It's very cost effective. I don't know if you have ever had the experience of working on a native application, right? But if you're working on a native application, one for Android and one for iOS, it's going to be pretty pricey. Why? Because you have to develop two applications, one in Java, you may be using Kotlin, and one in Swift for the iOS side. And this is just like too expensive. So another problem with this is that sometimes besides being time consuming, you don't really need a native application for a mobile app, right? So if you were asking me, hey, when would you use a native application, a hybrid application, or a PWA, is my first choice will be always a PWA, because some of the features that I just mentioned, and because a native application, I will only use it if I'm really requiring my device to use the hardware, right? For example, a gaming app. If it's just gonna be an application that it just displays a data table, probably a native application is gonna be too expensive and too complicated to build if it's just like native. So one of the things is, like I was mentioning, it's installable, so you can install it in any device, whether it's an Android, iOS, or whatever. As long as you have a browser in your phone, you can make use of a PWA, right? One of the requirements of a PWA is that it has to be served on HTTPS, right? Before you install it. And the cool thing about PWAs is that they are SEO compatible. Why? Because at the end of the day, they're actually a regular web app, right? They're just powered by service workers that I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But if you can apply SEO to a regular website, then the same concept, in the same way that you apply it to PWAs. So now, I mean, not everything is free with PWAs, right? They have their cons. So let's talk about them a little bit. So like I was mentioning, you have less access to the system features. For example, file systems, you don't really have access to. You do have access to like the camera, the navigator, the GPS, the Bluetooth, and other things. Like there are like only a few features that you don't have the ability to use from your device if you're using a PWA. Another thing is there's not a review standard, meaning, so whenever you create an application for Android or iOS, they go through a review process whenever you submit this application to the Google Play or App Store, right? For PWAs, there's not such a thing. If you can create a website, you can create a PWA. And you can put whatever you want in your website, and you can put whatever you want in your PWA, right? So obviously, I mean, this is a lot about ethics and making sure that if you make just a random website, a regular website secure, then you follow the same concept for PWAs. And another problem with PWAs is that Apple needs to catch up with the technology. You know, Apple likes to hawk technology and they don't really like to move fast. So there's a few features from PWAs that they are not working on iOS. For example, push notifications, right? Yes, you can use a push notification with a native application or with a hybrid application, but currently right now, they're not compatible with the PWAs with iOS. So now the power of a PWA is a service worker. Right? So what is a service worker? Service worker is a script that is running separately from our website in the background, pretty much. Service workers are awesome. They can reach different things like catching pages, catching API calls, send push notifications, do background sync to make sure, for example, another cool feature of the PWAs using service workers is that, let's pretend that you're working offline, right? And once you're working offline, well, what about the data, right? I mean, I have all this data that I cannot push to the database. So something that you can do is using a caching strategy, and it holds the data, and as soon as your application detects that you're online, it's gonna push the data to your actual database. So it's pretty cool. So some of the service worker characteristics is a service worker can cache network requests, like I was mentioning. A service worker can handle how these network requests are done in your website, right? And you can make use of the background sync API for this. A service worker can handle the requests the way they're done, like I was mentioning. A service worker can access and interact with the DOM directly. So that's something that you have to think about. Whenever you're working with a service worker, don't think that you're going to be able to just do document.get element by ID. No, that's not such a thing. That's not what service workers are for. So don't think that you are going to be able to manipulate or play with the DOM through the service worker. So another thing that you can do with service worker is you can cache. You can receive push notifications, and the service worker also stays inactive when it's not in use. Whenever it needs to be used, then becomes back to be active, right? So that's something really cool because you don't have to be consuming your resources of your computer for the service workers to be active all the time. Also, another thing is can be used to make your apps work offline, like I've been mentioning. So this is the key features of the service worker, right? This is pretty much what people are doing nowadays. You don't have to apply all these concepts whenever you're working with your service worker. You can just use the main ones. For example, that makes your application installable and that can cache a few resources, and that's pretty much it, right? So now I'm just gonna show you some code, right? So now if we go here, so as you can see, this is a simple application, right? This application is built purely with JavaScript. HTML and CSS, nothing else. No frameworks, no Vue, no React, no Angular, no nothing. Just JavaScript and HTML and CSS, right? So there's a few things that make your website a PWA. So what are those things? The first one is having a service worker, right? That's the first step. The second one is having a manifest. In the manifest, I'm going to specify the name of my application, right? In this case, I just named it my PWA. That's the short name, and the actual name is my first PWA. Right here, I have icons, and the icons are going to be the actual icon that you see in your home screen in your device. And you might want to apply more than just two. I just only put two just for a quick example, but depending on the device that you're planning people to use, you can change that information, and you can add multiple icons and multiple sizes. Another thing that is important for the PWAs is the life cycles, right? So if I go to index,
Pato.
Yes.
Hey, it's Pete. I don't think that we can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Hold on, give me a second.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, thank you. Okay, so can you guys see it now?
Yep, got it.
I'm showing code right now. Okay, perfect. So let's start again. So basically, like I was mentioning, this application right here is purely built on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? The main things that make your PWA are gonna be the service worker and the manifest, right? Those are like required. These things are not optional. So like I was mentioning, in the manifest, you have a short name, right? This is just the basic structure of your manifest. And you have an actual name. As you can see right here, it's called my first PWA. The icons, what are the icons? Well, like I was telling you, a PWA is installable in a device. So depending on the size of your device that you want to let your PWA be installable for, you're gonna add different sizes of icons. In this case, I only added 2, but you can add 5, 6, 7, as many as you want with different sizes, right? Right here, I'm defining the background color, right? It's just gonna be light black, and there are multiple kinds of display. In this case, I'm using the standard one, which is standalone. And the scope is basically pretty much telling the service worker where everything is gonna start from, right? And the theme color. This theme color, the background, and all these options that you see right here are customizable. You can change it however you want. And the background color, whenever I install it in a device, that's the color that is gonna look in the frames in the top. I don't know if you have seen a native application that sometimes you install it and the navigation bar all the way to the top changes color. So this is pretty much essentially what it is. The background color and the theme color, that's what they do. So now let's take a look at the actual code. So as you can see, I have an index file. This is just a regular JavaScript file. And don't worry about the rest of the code. This is essentially a very basic application that I have a tutorial for you guys. I have written step-by-step how to create the application that we are gonna be seeing in this talk. So the first step of the life cycle of a service worker is to register my service worker. Something that is super important, and I have seen this question multiple times on Stack Overflow, why is my service worker not working? Is because the majority of the problems that people have is they put their service worker inside of a folder or a nested folder or things like that. No, the service worker has to always be in the root folder. So as you can see, I have it right here. So if I minimize everything, here's my root, and it's like right here, it's outside. So like I was telling you, service worker, the first life cycle is to register the service worker. So once you have registered the service worker, right, it's gonna be a promise. So as you can see, I am using then. And it's gonna install the service worker in your browser. This is not installing the service worker or the application in your device. This is installing the service worker in your browser. That's the first step, right? And then what I'm gonna do is open the cache, right? and I'm gonna select all these files, right? And I'm gonna cache them, right, for the offline use. Once again, these are just a few files, but you should cache and consider every single file that you want to work offline, you should cache it. I'm just showing you just the most basic ones. And the other one is on Activate, right? On Activate, this one works whenever you have a cache name. For example, in this case, I have a PWA shared API version 1. If I change it, then it's gonna make sure that everything that is cached under this name, let's get rid of it. Why? Because there's a new version of a cache. You don't have to do this. I think it's just good practice because I like to keep the memory of my browser as clean as possible. So try to keep it clean. And another really important one is the fetch strategy, right? There's multiple fetch strategies, but in this one, if I'm offline, then grab the files that I need and display them, right? Or if it's an API call, grab it, reuse it because we already cache it and show the data that comes from that API. So now I'm gonna show you guys how an actual PWA looks like. So as you can see, I have this super fancy application. I'm just kidding, it's nothing fancy at all. It's just like super basic and just because I want to show you the concept of it, right? One really important concept of PWAs is that they have to be responsive, right? I mean, nowadays, I don't see a reason why someone wants to have a website that is not responsive. So as long as you can make a website responsive, you're already following one of the core concepts of a PWA. It has to be responsive, right? So this application doesn't do much. I'm just like clicking in here and just a menu right here. I'm just receiving a token from Firebase Cloud Messaging for my cloud messages, right? Or push notifications, but nothing really that you need for your PWA. And then if you actually go to this website right here, you can see how this application is working. And if you click on share in your device, it's just another functionality that PWAs and websites overall give you. You have the option to share that specific website with your social media, like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, WhatsApp, wherever. This functionality doesn't work on desktops. This is just purely a functionality that works with mobile browsers, right? So, like I was telling you guys, this application is a P2A and it's installable. So how to know whenever you go to a website in your desktop or in your mobile, how to know if it's installable or if it's a P2A? Usually in a device, in your mobile device, as soon as you get to the website, it's gonna give you the option of add to home screen. It's gonna add it to the bottom, right? You open the website and you're gonna get a small bar at the bottom. It says add to home screen. You click on it, installs the application in your device, you're done. For a desktop, if you're using Chrome, you're gonna see this plus sign right here. So as you can see, it says install my first PWA, which is the name that I gave to my app in the manifest. So if I click on it, this is the icon that I give, just a random icon that I chose, and then you can click install. Right, and I mean, the application has been installed in my device. And let me open it. Can you guys see it? Let me know if you cannot see it, just to make sure that I'm not having issues with that. So as you can see, I gave it a color of black, right? Like I was telling you, it was a hashtag 222, which is a dark, a light dark. So this is what it is. This is how your PWA is gonna look in your device. As you can see, it's responsive as well. This is not on the browser. This is an actual application in your device. And if you want to uninstall it, all you have to do is just click in here and uninstall my first PWA, which is just gonna install the PWA from my computer. So I'm just gonna remove it. And another thing that I want to show you is, if I go back here again, So let's go back to the PWA that I was working on. So we have the PWA. If you open Google DevTools, the way you do it is right click, right? If you're not familiar with this, inspect, and then you click on application. And then you're gonna see manifest, you're gonna see service worker. So let's click on manifest first. As you can see, the manifest has all the information that I provided to my manifest in my actual code, right? Right here, you just give me an error and a warning just because of the sizes, but of the icons, but don't worry about it. Once again, I have the name, the short name, the color of the thing that I gave, the background color, like I show you how it's working, the size of the icons that I'm using. So pretty much you're seeing how this information is being taken by your browser, right? Now, let's go to the brain of the PWA, which in this case is the service worker. So as you can see, right, I have my service worker registered, and I have another service worker right here, but don't worry about this one. This one right here is just for me to work with push notifications. But in this case, this is the one that I just registered. And you can see right here, where is the service worker coming from, which is my app. You can register it if you want. If you, for some reason, want to do it manually, but you don't really have to do so. An end user doesn't have to do any of this. I'm just showing you how things work and where things are. So now you can go to clear storage. And this is how much my application is been caching, right? Is using 224 kilobytes. But you might be wondering, where are these things that I just cached? So if you go here in cache storage, you can see PWA Azure API, and here are the files that I cached. You can click on them. And the cool thing about this, the purpose of it is for this at least to work offline, right? I'm gonna show you a common mistake that people make. So I have this other PWA right here. This is a simple PWA. And once again, you can install it, as you can see. Gives you the option. I'm using the same icon as before, just because I just don't have more. But if we go to network, right, an application, we can see that things are being cached, right? My service worker is working. Then let's test this application offline. So we're gonna click offline, and we're gonna refresh the page. And as you can see, everything looks great, but actually not everything is working. So as you can see right here, the icon is missing, right? And I have a few errors, right? And I'm doing this on purpose. Why? Because I didn't cache all these other files. I didn't even cache my image. So that's something that you have to consider. Like I was telling you before, you need to cache everything that you want to work offline, right? So once again, I'm just gonna make it work online, and that's it. I mean, everything is back as showing, and just remember that step is really important, because sometimes you might be wondering, oh my God, what's going on? My application is not working. So cache your API calls, you can cache images, or even if you just want to cache just something really basic, maybe for offline strategies, you want to change the user experience of the PWA. Only render a few things or render everything, that's up to you, depending on your business requirements. So like I was telling you also, the PWAs have to work on HTTPS, right? If you are working locally, in order for you to test your service worker, right, you have to have a server. And I mean, obviously for testing purposes, you don't really want to keep pushing your application constantly all the time to the server just to test a small change. Something that you can do is this npm package, right? And simulates a HTTP server for you to use your application. So all you have to do is install it in your computer, like a regular npm package, as you can see from here. And then just like use it. It's super simple. It has instructions right here. As you can see, you install it globally, and then you just tell it how to use it. This is the name, and then the path of the folder that you want to serve, right? So another cool thing that I want to show you is the website analytics, right? If you want to make sure that your PWA, it's a PWA, right? You can do the following. So you can go to this website right here, which is an application that I made, right? And you can type any URL that you want. I'm just copy pasting the same one from the website, and I'm gonna click test. So this is gonna give us a report on your application, on the performance, if it's SEO compatible, if it's a PWA. As you can see, I got all the information, how long it takes to load and all that. This tool is powered by Lighthouse, which is a tool created by Google. So don't think I came up with this. I'm not that smart like the kids from Google. But so yeah, it's telling me all the information. So everything is 100% good. Working with this application that I just tested and analyzed. And as you can see, it's a P2A, it's a progressive web app. But if you want to do it without using my website, there's a few things that you can do. You can use the Lighthouse plugin, right? The only problem with this one is that your application does have to be working in an actual server. It has to be online, right? It doesn't work on your internal device. But if you do want to test it in your internal device, you can do a right click, inspect, and then you're gonna click on audit. And then it's just gonna give you the option to analyze it. But as you can see, I'm just having an issue with the service worker, that multiple tabs are using the same service worker, but that's how you do it in your local environment. This is the way to go, and you just click on generate report. But this is a application served online. So hopefully you learned a few things about PWAs, and next time that you're working with PWAs, definitely, or any application, just consider some of the things that I mentioned. In my personal point of view, I will make every application, every web app, a PWA. It's super simple. If you're building an application on React, Vue, Angular, they all support PWAs. Angular, at least, they have a command that you enter in the command line, and it just generates that PWA for you. And essentially what it's doing is adding the files that I show you guys, which is the manifest, the service worker, and things like that. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to look at the articles that I have written on PWAs. So I have the intro to PWAs and service workers, which are essentially some of the things that I mentioned in this talk. But I talk about them full in detail in the article. I show you how to add notifications to your PWA, how to send push notifications with Firebase, how to add social media sharing, and how to create a PWA with JavaScript, which is essentially what I did, right? I didn't do any framework or library. I just built it from scratch. Super simple. It's just a few lines of code. If you can still see my screen, right? I mean, this is essentially all you need is this part right here, right? The manifest, which is right here. And you need to give the order to your service worker to register. That's the main feature. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is if you are with your PWA, right? And if you're gonna be working with a brand new application, I'm just gonna go to GitHub. I misspelled it, but so sometimes we are a little bit lazy and we don't want to create things from scratch, and that's totally fine. I understand. I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, I'm an engineer, so I try to make my life easier. So if you go to my profile, right, and on GitHub, yeah, like I said, my username is devpato, and then you look for PWA template, This is a repo that I just started working 12 days ago, and basically it has the basic setup for you to start working with a PWA. It has already the things that you need, right? And all you have to do is click on use this template and just name it however you want. And then right now it's generating the repository based on the template that I built for PWAs. And there you go. Now is your code, and you can keep playing with it. And if we go to service worker, it has the basic things that you need. I added, like I mentioned, the active and the activate and the fetch, but you don't need that, right? And you can see I have already the manifest. It's already done for you. All you have to do is just tweak them for you to start working with PWAs. So thank you so much for coming today. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll try to answer them for you.
And thanks, Pato. Yeah, so feel free to ask any questions in the chat or just unmute yourself.
I don't think that people have questions, but yeah, so if you have questions later on, just ping me on Twitter. Honestly, oh, hold on, someone else has a question. Hold on, I'm reading the question from Greg. What if you are someone who doesn't want to use Chrome as a browser? It appears, at least on a Mac, that you can't download a PWA through Firefox. Right? Yes, you can use Microsoft Edge. Safari does support PWAs, right? And I thought Firefox supports PWAs. I mean, we can just look it up really quick. Let's say, so according to this website, right here, they are compatible, right? Progressive web apps are here. So what's the big deal? I guess those 2 years ago, and I mean, they seem to be working on Firefox. But I mean, I can always try, say, so real quick. Maybe it might not be working on Firefox on Macs, but let's see. Let's test it out like real time, just to put some adrenaline to the talk. And I'm just gonna copy this link right here. Let's see. Okay, so it's installed. Oh, it's installing. So I like to keep my my life to the edge, you know. So I just installed Firefox, the stock. It's opening. Let's see. Okay, so we have Firefox right here. So we go to the website, and I'm assuming save as a pocket, 3 dots. What is this? I mean, I never use Firefox, so let's see. I don't see the icon somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know if someone knows, but I mean, hopefully it works. I don't really know how it is working with Firefox. I don't really never use Firefox, but if you figure out how to make a PWA installable, where's the icon, just please let us know. That'll be fun to find out. But yeah, so do you have any more questions? I don't think anyone has more questions. So I think I'm just gonna call it for today. Chris, did I, oh no, it was Greg. Greg, I don't know if I answered your question. Probably I didn't. Like I was telling you, okay, someone just posted a link. So let's check it out. See what it says. Okay, so according to this, I mean, they're supported, at least on, well, oh no, this is open, right? It's a bug that is open in the Voxilla. I haven't read this. Someone just sent this link to me, and I'll probably check it out. And if you guys have more questions related to this, I probably can post a tweet about what I read in the next few days. So just stay tuned to my Twitter account, and I'll see what I find out. And if I find something more specific on Firefox, Craig, I can like definitely let you know. Either you can reach out to me on Twitter, or you drop your email and I can send you an email and see what I find out. Like I said, I mean, I'm learning this with you guys about Firefox. I've never used Firefox, so I'm kind of lacking on knowledge on PWAs on that aspect, but I figure by this time they already know that people use PWAs, because there's, I mean, even Instagram, for example, I open it, don't judge my Instagram account, guys. There's this lovely couple, but this right here that you see is a PWA in my computer, right? I have pretty much Instagram installed on my computer, so everyone is using PWAs. So I'm surprised that Firefox is not fully supporting them. So yeah, we can definitely. Have you checked, Greg, if you can, do you have an iPhone? If you can check, if you can install it in Safari, that'll be great, because I'm pretty sure that you should be able to install it in your, through Safari. Like I said, there are just some features that they're just not gonna work, like the push notifications. Yeah, so like I was telling you, like that's something that I really hate about Apple. Like Apple is the kind of company that wants to pretend that there are like trend makers, but they are literally stopping technology from moving forward. That's the reason I don't like Apple, in my personal opinion. Like, first of all, they having a license for you to publish a application in their app store is expensive, like $100 a year. So that's already a blocker. Another blocker that I see is that you have to go through an extensive review of your application, and it has to follow certain design patterns that they use for other applications. So if your application doesn't look like really pretty, they're just gonna like block it. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has another comment besides Greg. Thank you so much for your questions, Greg. That was awesome. If anyone has any more questions, please let me know. Hopefully you guys like the talk. And if you liked it, leave a comment. And if you have feedback, once again, let me know. I'm always open to get feedback from everyone.
Yep. Thanks again, Pacho. Let's definitely catch up soon, and I'll see everybody next week.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Pete.
All right. Thanks again. All right. See everybody soon.